See what I mean? Or is it because the table's crooked?
Well, my driveway slope or my garage slopes down a little bit. So.
Anyway, hello, welcome
What's up, guys?
everybody. Pints and Pistons with a guest, and we're 3/4 of a man short.
Yes, sadly we are.
Yeah. But if you're new here, welcome to Pints and Pistons. We are the best talk show for cars on YouTube. That's not official. I'm just saying I love us.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Tonight we're brought to you by ClutchShiftGo.com. They have awesome car apparel, including our T-shirts that they sell. It's great fabric, and they have great stuff there. Lots of awesome pictures, cool stuff.
Able to move.
Great decals. It's for the car enthusiasts and all of us. And we're also brought to you tonight by ROE Auto Parts on eBay. Yep. OE surplus parts and recycled parts at an affordable price. Woohoo. Be sure to go find us on Facebook and like us. Everything's down in the description for you guys to go fuck around with while we're working here. I mean, seriously, we got to get something done. If you like what you're watching, share it around.
Yes, share it to everybody.
Tell your friends, tell your family, make them watch us too. Because, I mean, misery loves company.
Exactly. Let's do a little introduction. I'm Mike. This is Dan. That's Chris.
Sort of.
That's Chris.
Another Chris.
That's
He's our
Chris.
special guest for tonight. He is filling in for Brian. As Brian just commented, he is not there.
But he has his shirt on, too.
But he's got his shirt on. So we miss you, Brian. Brian is having some issues right now that he cannot be here. So we miss you, Brian, but we will try our hardest to fuck this shit up like we normally do.
Yes. And these are twist.
Let's start off with a beer, then. Let's do this.
All right. You want to run up there? You're closest, Mike.
I know. This is one that I just picked up. So is that on screen?
Oh, that's beautiful. Shinerbach.
It was on sale, so I grabbed it.
Yeah, it's clean.
Dude, look at this color, bro.
The alcohol killed
Look at that color.
It's a nice caramel.
Hell yeah, it is. All right, Shinerbach from Texas. Every drop of Shiner beer is brewed right here in Shiner, Texas, by a handful of local craftsmen who take pride in our little brewery. And there's nothing about this beer.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Combines Shinerbach Bach beer combines old world Bavarian heritage with American handcraft brewing for a smooth, delightfully drinkable dark beer.
I was gonna say it was in the German beer section, so I thought it was gonna be a German.
Prosit! Shine beer
All right,
and
here.
Fun fact, guys, I have never had a Shiner Bock before.
Me
so this is
neither.
a new experience.
cheers.
And Brian. Oh
Cheers.
wait, hold on. Yeah, no,
Cheers.
webcam's
Cheers,
up there.
buddy.
To you, Brian.
That's a good beer.
I like that.
That's good.
That is a really good beer.
And I love how Brian says he's viewing us from the Shan's ER room right now. So
So,
Can you take if it's a smart TV, just take control of it?
yeah. Hey, take control of the TV in the lobby right now. And make all those
Put the live stream
watch
up of us.
it's nothing like, it's not some, crazy craft beer that's got
No.
30 different flavors to
It's
it
a
and
good
a weird
lager
profile.
style.
It's just a good
It's a
beer.
Bach.
Yeah.
Very good Bach beer.
Yeah.
Dark Pilsner.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. That's good stuff.
Not over flavored, just perfect.
Yeah.
It's smooth.
I can dig it.
I like how smooth it is.
We can dig it. It's better than the other beer.
That's
that
a
I
nice
was gonna
smooth
pick
drink.
That was almost like 9%.
Oh God.
I'm like, hey, this is on sale. No,
Not-
it was a Scottish one or
It
something.
was a Scotch ale.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, let's nope. He's
Yeah.
like, why? He's like, it's cheaper. I'm like, it's 8.5%. We'll be fucked.
We would be quite fluckered there if we drank that.
It would. To be fair, though.
To be fair.
To be fair.
Let's jump in, shall we?
This poor guy's like, what the fuck did I walk into? Why did I agree to do this?
You just told me that there was free beer and food.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, you'll chime in eventually. We'll get your gears grinded, and you'll be like, "No, wait, I have to talk about this."
Grind people's gears right now because the first thing we're jumping into that I'm picking at this point, I'm pissing people off by talking about the new Super again. This is what, like the third or fourth episode I've done this.
That's okay.
So, new Super A90, I think it is A90 or whatever. Okay. So I forgot the designation of the motor that's in it now. It's like the B53 or some shit like that. everybody's been talking shit about that motor. Oh, it's nothing like the 2J, yada, 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 yada. Well, they finally put out numbers of it with basically like bolt-ons and a little bit bigger turbo and a tune, throwing down 700 and something horsepower. And now everybody's jumping on the bandwagon of, hey, this motor's great. I never thought of that. Bitch, we've been saying that since the fucking beginning.
Right.
Since the fucking beginning. And now y'all are finally getting on that shit. Like, if you would have listened to us and said, this is a great motor. This is doing great. The 2J is a horrible, outdated motor that you don't get that power with unless you're putting 40, 50 grand into.
The idea is that 2J is still a great engine.
Yeah, it is, but
you're talking 20 years of difference.
Exactly.
In technology. More than that.
exactly. You're getting better fuel mileage. You're getting the same amount. Like, it's, I think
the only reason people are bitching is because it's not a Toyota motor.
I think it
That's
was-
seriously all it is.
I think there's only like 20 horsepower difference, and with the weight of the car, it pretty much equals out to be stock for stock what the MK4 was. Stock.
Yeah.
What's there to complain about at that point?
No,
What is really to
you
complain
throw them
about?
both on a track and they're both comparable chassis.
Yes,
Oh, definitely.
Exactly. And I would also like to point out that the very first one with the 2J swap caught on fire already.
And with what you just said, they're comparable chassis, but the new one would outdistance the old one by a lot.
Oh,
stock for
100%.
stock
Like,
form.
like, you put all the stats together, and it's a comparable car. I mean, they're all built for a certain purpose.
Right. It's the modern version of the old car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people just aren't, they're looking at everything through rose tinted glasses and misty-eyed nostalgia, as Jeremy Clarkson would say. And it's just one of those where it's like, just get past that. Like, it's been 20 years.
I was not
Come
in the
on.
car that caught fire this time.
Yes, and Brian was not the one that caused the fire and that. But, hey, Brian, I did find a wonderful 85 CRX on Facebook Marketplace that I wanted to buy for you. It was automatic, too. It was blue.
Oh, jeez. No, I gotta agree though. Like, people just kind of need to get off their high horse with the whole 2J and being in the Supra thing. It's modern technology, modern
Mhm.
car. The motor's still capable of great things. Get
Oh, yeah.
over yourself. Like,
At least they put a straight 6 into it. Like, that's my big thing. At least they put a straight 6 into a car that
If they
was,
would have left it up to Toyota, they would have dropped the newer 3.5s out of the Camry.
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. And then it would have been just even more shit.
And then everybody would be complaining because it's not straight 6. Now
Mhm.
it's Supra. So, like, the same argument would have happened no matter what.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got a straight
Yeah.
6. Quit bitching.
Exactly.
We got a new
what
straight
cars
6.
have straight 6 in them now?
They're so gone.
driving 8 skirt.
But we got a good inline 6.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And BMW has stuck with the inline 6 all this time because they're the only ones at this point.
I was gonna
that
say
really
there's
know
a
what they're
reason.
doing.
There's a
I was gonna say
reason.
Jeep even went away from them. Pretty much Jeep was the only American auto. Well, I think the last American automaker you could get a straight 6 from was the 4.2 and the Trailblazers.
Yeah, which those are actually really strong.
Yeah.
As well.
But it's one of those, like, you don't see straight 6s anymore.
Is GM still doing the straight 5?
No, they
those
stopped that
in
with
2012.
with the other generation of Colorados and Canyons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3.6.
Yep.
Mhm.
So.
But yeah, so that's basically the gist of that one. Is like, get the fuck over yourself. It's happening. You can't do anything about it.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention the first 2JZ swap Supra blew up.
I still think it's funny with all of
Oh, it
that.
sounded
Though.
weird to say.
All the internet keyboard warriors, all the people that are complaining about that car are people that are never going to
Gonna buy
fucking
one.
buy one in the
Exactly.
first place. Even if
Exactly.
they made a carbon copy of the last generation Supra and sold it brand new, they'd never buy it.
No.
Because it's too expensive for them.
Because they can't afford anything except
Exactly.
for a clapped out fucking Honda anyway.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, yeah.
And the
why are
price-
you bitching about a car you're never
The-
going to fucking
the,
buy?
pri- the
Seriously.
price that the new Supra is priced at is actually a really good price point, because I know we talked about this in previous episodes. The price point of the MK4 when it came out was like $47,000-$48,000, which in today's money was like $60,000-$70,000. Whereas you look at the new Supra, it's about 50-something thousand in it. It's actually comparably cheaper than what the
Yeah.
MK4 was. But everybody's like, oh, that's too much. look at what, like, they don't realize how much that car costs stock.
Yeah.
It really was a decently expensive car.
And on top of that, I mean, look at the market these days. That kind of car, that's what that pulls.
Exactly.
In any of the cars in that bracket, that's what they pull.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I like the Mustang so much, because you can get a base model GT
for
$29,000.
You ain't got
and
no
that is
frills or chills,
that is $10,000 less than anything else on the market.
Yeah. And it's a great way to stay in shape.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
For people
Good
on the
for you.
outside.
It's good for you.
I was
Get your cardio in.
2J swap on a Supra the other day. That just doesn't sound right to say. 2J swap a Supra. That doesn't sound right.
Well, you also got to think the only Supra that came with the 2J was fucking MK4s.
Yeah.
MK3s came with what? The 7M
and the 1J.
Yeah.
7M and 1J.
So, I mean.
Why is everybody complaining, though? They came out with a whole new line of LS swappable cars.
Exactly.
Sorry, I had to go there.
At this point, we just have to be happy that Toyota actually has a rear-wheel drive sports car in their lineup again.
That is true.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, fucking Toyota. I mean, they were the masters of it. Now they're the masters of Prius.
Well, I mean, they did have the FRS and BRZs.
Yeah.
As far as rear-wheel drive sports cars.
Why is it cutting? It's cutting.
Let me see if I can fix that.
It's cutting off part of his comments. I wonder if you just need to open the window more that way.
Hold on. Boom.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Question: in 25 years, will clean stock A90s bring retarded money at auction?
It's a good point.
That is a good point.
Will they?
Or are they just going to become that cheap disposable
They
vehicle
probably,
that
I am telling you this, they will most likely become the next MK3s. Because right now you can buy a really nice stock MK3 for like $7,000. I mean, really nice bone stock, beautiful car from an elderly person. But yet you get a completely clapped out, MK4 that you're paying $55,000 for.
Right.
That has a blown head gasket and comes on the back of a rollback. They're like, hey, I got a 10-second car. Yeah, no, pretty much that's it.
Yeah. And now this next topic. This is going to be a good one. We want to know, everyone, what is, in your opinion, the most influential / your favorite car from the 80s?
Ooh.
You guys tell us too.
Now, hold on.
Comment below.
Though. Now, this is we're just doing the what we think is the most influential car of the 80s.
But I also want to know everybody else's favorite car from the 80s, and what do you think is the most influential vehicle from the 80s, and why?
Two topics then, because I got between influential and my favorite car from the 80s, there's a huge difference.
Well, we'll stick with influential for now.
Okay.
We'll see if we can make it beyond that. But, I mean, because the 80s was a crucial time in the automotive industry, especially here in the States, because...
Well, and not even in the States, also in Japan.
Everywhere.
The amount of technology that, between the 70s and 80s, the amount of technology that exploded.
And it was an overload and just getting crammed into stuff with digitized voices.
Exactly,
and no gauges. They're all digital.
Door is ajar.
And
the door.
Your headlights are on.
Your headlights are on.
Is ajar.
Your headlights are on.
Betty in the 300Zs.
I think the real question is going to be, most influential car from the 80s. Is that going to be during the 80s, or are we talking present time? How does it affect? How is the time?
Well, no, it's the car in the 80s that had that. Well, and that's the thing, Brian. I was about to bring that up. It's one of those a car in the 80s that has influenced. Once it came out, it spawned other shit.
We're talking present day.
Yes. Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
So, I will go off on because Brian isn't here and he told us about this. Dodge Caravan, the Plymouth, whatever
Voyagers.
Yeah. Well, they were the first minivans out. And that's when they came out. I believe it was 83, 84 when they came out. Look what it did. You had minivans fucking everywhere. Every other company was rushing to try to get a minivan onto the scene. And they became a huge thing to where,
then the
look
Astro
at now.
was born.
Yeah, but look at now. I mean, you get $50-something thousand Honda Odysseys that are going out there. Now.
All right, so I got to break in on this. First off, Lee Iacocca's brainchild.
Oh, yeah. The K-Cars.
Yes.
No, the
Well, yeah,
caravan.
but
that was a
Yeah.
Lee
But
Iacocca deal.
it
That was
off of-
him
it
going,
was
this
off
will be
of
a new
the-
thing.
Honestly, it probably ushered in K cars.
Well, no,
And-
the minivans were based off of the K
Well,
cars, and that's what it was
exactly.
based off of.
But not only that, it not only created a new segment of car, but it also destroyed a current.
Oh yeah, it
segment of
destroyed
cars.
the
It did.
wagons.
It destroyed the American station
Yep.
wagon as we knew it.
Yep.
Because before the minivan, that's if you had a family and you wanted
You
something
had a
with
big
cargo
old
space,
V8 rear-wheel
you got
drive.
a big V8 rear-wheel drive wagon, and that was the family truckster.
But yet
They
now you could-
reinvented that idea with that minivan
Now you could get a
because
4-cylinder
They even
front-wheel
gave you a
drive.
turbo one.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
Could, even a manual one too.
Even a manual turbo
But you
one.
got a front-wheel drive 4-cylinder, better gas mileage.
You can get a
able to
all-wheel
fit-
drive too, couldn't you?
But able to get better. The way the floor was completely flat floor, able to fit so many more people in the back, more headroom, higher up. It
More
made
cargo
more
space,
cargo space,
towing
and
capacity.
it
I don't
made it-
think Brian.
Cargo van too, because they had the delivery.
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Right.
it got to the point where that was they completely changed shit with that.
I think Brian is probably really surprised that we're agreeing with him.
Oh,
right
no,
now.
I totally-
yeah.
Brian, that was one of my cars, and I picked like 3 cars because I knew one of us was going to pick the start of the minivan off of that.
Yeah. I want you to know, Brian, that was actually my first choice as well. And I
told him
that
about
was
it
why
earlier.
I suggested this whole topic was I can talk about the caravan.
But I also got to go into.
Huh?
Said in a positive way.
Yeah.
I have to go in on my one pick that was it's my higher pick out of my 2 that I had was it's a car that I picked in previous episodes as one of my favorite cars from the time period, the AMC Eagle. That started the crossover craze.
Right.
That is a station wagon that was higher up, better ground clearance, able to be had in 4-wheel drive.
Get him in a
You
sedan
still-
too.
Yeah, you had all the room and all
Yes.
that, but it was higher up.
AMC straight 6,
Exactly. But
bulletproof.
did that not start
It did.
the crossover craze? Because I mean, yes, you had the SUVs, but looking
Uh-oh,
at the crossovers now,
Uh-oh.
come on,
Uh-oh.
what?
The Jeep Wagoneer.
That was still big.
That was not called a sport utility vehicle. It was actually technically called and termed, as far as classification, a sports wagon,
Okay.
which is what the AMC Eagles were also classified as.
But it was bigger.
It was bigger.
I'm talking about the Eagle size.
Was that
of being-
marketing back then though? Because the Wagoneer was originally based off of like the mid-70s Cherokees
Yeah,
too.
so they were
had
still-
them before then. Too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And that's not an 80s vehicle, but what he's saying is that started the crossover phase. And I kind of disagree because the Jeep Grand Wagoneer was actually genesis for what we consider these sport
Yeah,
utility
but
vehicles.
also I understand
They just weren't
that.
called that. They were actually called sport wagons.
But it's when you
marketing.
look at the size of crossovers, the Jeep Wagoneer led more into the straight family SUV craze,
right.
whereas the AMC Eagle, with being able to be had in a sedan plus a wagon, the size of
Right.
it and that was more of the crossovers of today with the more.
I'll agree with you
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, because they
focus
literally
just higher
they
up,
literally
like,
took a
Go
car
more
and put it on a
in-depth
truck
with that,
chassis.
Yeah.
too, because like we said, the Caravan, those were essentially off of a car chassis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Grand Wagoneers were still, I believe, full frame.
Yeah,
chassis.
they were.
Yes, they
They
were.
were
They
full
were.
frame
Yeah.
and all that.
Truck-based.
Where I believe the AMC was a unibody.
Yeah.
I believe that was a unibody. I don't think it was a full frame.
Having a bit of a bug problem.
But it was one of those where, like, it's basically a car that was lifted up, which is what
Yeah.
the crossovers now are. It's just a
Lifted car.
basically
essentially.
a car hatchback that is just a couple inches higher up, easier to get in and out of for people, a little bit more cargo space. And most of them are available in all-wheel drive options and that,
Right.
which is what the AMC Eagle was.
Right.
And I believe that vehicle caused later on, like it kind of went hush,
Was it-
but when they started bringing crossovers, I believe they looked at that and were like, hey, let's try raising up our sedan a little bit and,
Yep.
giving it a little bit of extra room, giving it, a little bit more robustness in the back. And hey, let's see how this goes. And boom, you have crossovers. that are now everything that Ford sells.
Yeah, and now, Chris.
What?
Go.
You got one?
As far as most influential 80s?
Yeah.
80s car. Why was it influential?
Go.
I can think of popularity influential.
That works.
If you get into like the import tuner style cars, you have, as you know, your FC.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very influential car. A86 Corollas. There's more than a few there.
Oh, you helped him.
I can't actually give you any good examples of like a true influence.
Oh no!
R32. Boom. There you go. R32 GTR.
That's 89.
Yeah, but it started in the 80s. Boom. That started up.
Well,
that
like-
helped kicked out the rest of the JDM monsters coming
I
out.
think what the basis of what I was getting at starts off with is, well, even like 89, 88, maybe the Miatas. I think the smaller sport style cars, I think, was where we started to grow influence there, because we really didn't have anything small like that beforehand.
Yeah. But what do you? Oh, he's running away. Well, no, yeah, I agree. That kind of started ushering in people like I was saying. I was talking to somebody else about this the other day. The 80s was like so crucial for everyone, because not just for the rest of the world, but for us. It was the time that people started accepting, Japanese cars and stuff, and
Right.
people weren't embarrassed that they liked Japanese cars and liked modifying them and stuff like that.
But the 80s is a weird time too, because we just got out of that gas crunch.
Right,
Always
and
come
we're
back
starting
to
to tickle with fuel injection,
Right.
yeah, and transmissions with overdrive and things like that,
Computerization in general.
and yeah,
And that's actually fun to look into if you ever read up on it. Back in the early days of in the 80s of Honda, when people were building those up, and the little tricks of the trade that they did to get more power out of them
it's just simple little things.
With bypassing having to redo proms and things like that, just going back to basics, like treating these like they were carbureted engines.
Exactly.
And doing it mechanical changes
Mm-hmm.
for the upgrades that they were doing.
Yeah, and
Well, even
it's such
throwing
a
in
growth
the DSMs to where that made it to where Americans who did not like Japanese cars and that were able to go out and buy a Dodge or a Plymouth. They were able to buy a Dodge Stealth instead of buying the 3000
right,
3000 GT, and that. I got an American car, even though it was the same thing.
Eagle Tower.
Yeah,
Well,
even though it was the same thing, it made them feel, hey, and that ushered in, people realizing that they were good cars.
And that's what brought me into my choice, is because that time, especially in America, spawned off all these Japanese companies were doing their thing, European companies. In the 80s, we had a lot of different types of manufacturers in America. And then, America wanted to create a tuner type vehicle to keep up with all these people enjoying this. And at this time, hot hatches were popular. And thus the Shelby Omni was born.
Like hell.
It was born.
The GLH.
And I think the Shelby Omni GLH is one of the most influential cars of the 80s, because it showed that an American manufacturer that was stuck in its ways for so long could produce something that would appeal to the Europeans.
Because they, at that point, when that car came out, you had, the GTIs, like it was the first, second gen GTIs and all that. Yeah, they had decent power for the size and all that, but yet you have 200 horsepower coming out of this little tiny car that can torque steer to snap your neck off.
You got these guys with they put a turbo 4-cylinder in their car with the same type of suspension as everyone else was using in GTIs and in the 323s and
then
GLCs.
You name them GLH. What people don't realize, GLH literally means goes like hell.
Yes.
That was the name of, when they asked Carroll Shelby, hey, well, what does GLH mean? He's like, goes like hell. That's what it means. So I named it that.
That would
Come on.
That's mine, because I really think the Shelby Omni kind of really brought in more sport compact vehicles
to the American market.
Yeah.
Well, and they did a few models together. They had the Daytona Shelby Z.
Yes, sir.
Which you had the 2.2, and which Brian will tell you so much about. That 2.2, it's nothing compared to mine and his car, where we got wonderful amounts of torque steer. It's one of those. You hit the gas. As you're hitting the gas, you make sure to turn the wheel at least half a turn.
So you can counter it.
Because you start pulling left at that point, but by the time the turbo kicks in, it's right when you're at the dotted line, and it pulls you 10,000 feet this way, and that's when you do a full turn of the wheel to go straight.
He just commented in. This is from Brian, guys. The Ford Taurus, which is I want to talk about this for a second. It was a reinvention of the American sedan.
Oh yeah. Well,
it was a reinvention of the idea of what the American car driver wanted, the American car owner.
Well, that knocked the cord out of
it did.
Car and Drivers.
It was one of the best-selling vehicles. It was one of the best-selling vehicles.
Yeah.
For the history of Ford.
That first gen Taurus.
Everybody knows somebody that had an old Taurus.
Everybody had an old Taurus at one
first
point.
Gen Taurus is, fight me on this, is the best Taurus. Especially when you get into the show and you get the wonderful Yamaha motor that is in that thing.
Oh yeah, that 3-liter V6 that they put in. Was it 3 or 3.5?
GLH. That is an old Native American word for all the torque steer.
Yeah, but then you got into the Taurus shows, and they were making more power than the Mustangs were.
Right.
And that's like going into the Gray Nationals, where they were making more power than the fucking Corvettes.
Yeah.
And all that shit.
But
all right.
Oh, I got one more for the topic, because actually I think we can hit this topic a couple more times.
Before you accidentally take mine, can I jump in with mine real quick?
Well, I was going to do my supercar one. You already heard me about this.
Okay.
I'm not taking it. Am I?
No, you're not taking it.
Okay, so I also want to add in with most influential car from the 80s, going into the supercar, hypercar area, the Countach. Okay, because that thing, yes, it came out in the 70s and there was many other wonderful supercars that came out in the 80s. That car, especially with its over-eccentric everything, it wasn't the best handling. It wasn't the most powerful and all that stuff, but just the look of it. The rear spoiler that was so illegal that they didn't leave the factory with it when they left. The way that spoiler got put on the 5000 version of it, in the parking lot, the guy screwed it in on the parking lot after it left the factory for final inspection because it was illegal. It was past height of what it was supposed to be. The interior was so crazily done. You had removable mirrors, so you could check underneath your nose in case you had something underneath it. I mean, it was just, you couldn't back it up without sitting outside of the car.
That was Lamborghini discovering.
That was Lamborghini at the height of Lamborghini.
That was them discovering themselves. That was them realizing the word you're looking for is pantomime.
Or gaudy.
Pantomime. That is the perfect word to describe it.
Yeah.
Lamborghinis are all pantomime all the time. It's not a real car.
Oh, no.
This is an imaginary car.
Well,
this is what a car could be if we lived in crazy bizarro
If you
world.
want a better performance car, you go with a Ferrari. If you want, better engineered, you go with a Mercedes or a BMW or Audi and all that.
But if you want people to look at you,
if you want people to look at you, and you want to have the most outlandish car that gives you the best smile, even when you're broken down on the side of the road, you get a Lamborghini.
Except for the Espada.
I like that.
The Espada is one of the fucking ugliest things ever made.
That was the 70s. So.
That was pre.
I know. I know, but the Espada just popped in my head.
Because even at our age, to where we weren't in the straight 80s, as kids, to where we had those posters on our wall. Even in the 90s, I still had a fucking Countach poster.
No, I'm a little older. I had a Countach poster. I had it,
I had a fucking Countach poster on my
wall. Every kid on my block had a Countach poster.
You stop it. We all do love vectors, Brian.
Yeah. We love vectors. Yes. Everybody loves vectors.
And if you don't know what a vector is, go look up a vector.
And it is basically just like a Lamborghini, just as crazy, but American. So you break down just as much.
Since I couldn't do the Caravan because Brian took that one, I have another one, and this was an extremely influential car. This car came out and rocked the world of motorsport racing, particularly rally racing. Oh, you know where I'm going with this. The Audi Quattro.
Yep.
I didn't even think about the goddamn Audi Quattro.
Yep.
The Audi Quattro debuted in late 1980.
five cylinders of
5-cylinder
turning
engine,
all 4 wheels,
turbocharged,
Yes.
all-wheel drive.
Beautiful noise.
Made everybody go.
Late 1980.
Yeah.
The year 1980.
Yeah.
It was the end of the year 1980 when it came out.
Group B cars.
Oh,
And that was the
yes.
thing. It came out and it destroyed in rally
We
racing.
just need to say though, right off the bat, regarding that car, that like I don't think you could ever hear anything that has more beautiful.
No.
Yeah.
I think that is the most beautiful sounding car
Yeah.
ever created.
5-cylinder Audi engines.
Group B rally
Yeah.
is the best rally.
5-cylinder Audi engines are.
It had an
Oh.
amazing sound. That engine was godly.
Oh yeah.
Still is.
And I mean, it was a car so far ahead of its time. They were still running. You know what was winning the rally championships before that car came out?
Rear-wheel drive
Wasn't it-
Porsches.
Yeah, wasn't it the Porsches?
It was not the Porsches. One of the biggest rally racing winners at that time was the Lancia Stratos.
Oh yeah.
Mid-engine, rear-wheel
Which
drive.
again, that
Yeah.
car on itself.
Oh God!
Like, I know that's not the 80s, but like trust us, we could go into whole
I know, right?
context on that because that car, that short wheelbase,
We could talk hours.
Yes.
every
Oh,
single
good
turn
God.
you ever took on that car, it could be the same turn 100 times. Every 100 times you took that turn was not the same.
Right, it did
Because
something
that
different
thing-
every time.
You
And
did
now-
not control that car. That car controlled you.
In the driver's seat, you don't quite sit all the way to the left.
No, and then you got to turn all the way to the
You're
right.
driving a little bit
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you're angled more towards the center
And
of the
there's
car,
there's
but they had
one-
another seat.
There's a wonderful pocket in the door card for that. That is a perfect size for a crash helmet in there.
Yes.
Because you're gonna
Legitimately,
need-
they put a crash helmet-sized door pocket in it. That
because
was
they're
a
going to
great
need
thing.
it.
But anyway, with the Quattro, I mean, there was no more influential car in rally racing than the Quattro. It changed rally racing
It did.
forever.
I mean, they
Well,
had
see,
they had to bring in all new everything. Didn't it get banned?
Well, Group B finally got banned. No,
Yeah.
Group-
That's what happened. They banned
And
Group B.
Group B finally got banned right before, I think, the RS200. Brian might correct me on this. I think the RS200 only got one run into Group B, and then it ended. But if the RS200 would have been a couple months sooner, it would have completely dominated everything.
See, I'm not sure that. I think we overlooked the 037 Lancia.
Oh, see, now I love that too. The 037 is
That's
fucking
right.
amazing looking
Like,
too.
I give all the credit to that.
Oh,
Quattro,
yeah.
but
Oh yeah. No, the 037. Well, see, that's the thing. When you go into Group B, it's one of those. It isn't what car is better. It's what car is better each month.
Yeah.
Right.
Because each
Yeah.
manufacturer, every single month, they went from those Quattros went from like 300 and something horsepower to by the end of Group B, we're at 700 and something horsepower. Same motor, everything. They just
supercharged.
Kept
yeah,
turning
like,
up the boost.
So it's one of those like they'd have the fastest car. The next thing you know, Lancia came out with something and started doing something more. They turned up their thing. Ford came and started doing their thing. Porsche came and started doing, and it was basically like 6 years of just let's fucking try to homologate the shit out of these things. And next thing you know, you have people that have PVC pipes for the roll cage trying to save weight to pass tech, and they're doing 700 and something horsepower, and they're dying.
Yep.
And that's finally when Riley was like, we might need to
Well,
stop
because they were
this.
basically building the seat into the fuel cell.
That's
Yeah.
what it
You know,
is.
hey, this is a good spot for the fuel cell. Well, the driver sits there. We'll mold it around him. It'll be fine. Well, what if he crashes? He won't crash. He's a rally driver. It'll be fine. Rally drivers can't die. Actually, yes, they can.
Quite
I-
Rally
I
drivers
believe-
are
I
actually
believe-
very fragile.
Yeah, I believe Group B had the most deaths of any other class that's even still going on to
And it
this
was
day.
only
Yeah.
ran for what 5 years?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years, something like that. It was like late 81 to early 86.
And that's just talking about the
Group B.
driver
Yeah.
deaths.
Yeah.
We're not talking
Yeah.
about all of
Yeah.
the spectators
Yeah.
that got run over.
Because at
as
that
well.
point,
Yeah.
when the driver died, they took out 30 people.
Right. Well, that was when they went, hey, we're having a rally through here.
The FIA stepped in after both driver and navigator deaths and spectator deaths. Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
That was when I believe it was when Lancias got split apart by the tree.
It was,
That was
S4,
the-
I think. Yeah.
Yep, and that was the last. That was the last run. That
Because
was,
when they went,
yeah,
it's done.
because that car hit the tree, and when it split, everybody died. But it was one of those when it hit the tree. I believe it took out like a shit ton of spectators. It went. Hey!
well, they had a couple of instances where there
It-
was a group of spectators, like 20, 30 people
Oh, yeah.
in a car kind of spun into the crowd. It pulled a Mustang move.
Well, as we've talked about in previous episodes, it's one of those where the Group B drivers would go. You never saw those people as actual people. You saw them as trees, because if you saw them as people, you wouldn't be able to finish your lap.
You'd slow down.
Yeah, you weren't able to. So you saw them as that, and it was one of those where when you finished the stage and went back to the pits, it wasn't uncommon to find fingers or stuff like that in your grills and all that, because you were hitting those spectators. Because I tell you what, those spectators are worse than the drivers.
They were insane.
If you did not touch that car, you were not a diehard Riley fan.
Right. Like legit, they'd be out in the guy would stand in the middle of the track that the car was running on, and then he would dive out of the way.
RS200,
and literally like feet like clipping the front bumper.
It's like a bucket list thing. I want to sit on one of those spots where they come close to the corner, and I want to just put my hand up and just briskly touch the door while it's jumping.
And Brian pointed out,
they don't let you near the tracks anymore.
It was the RS200 that was the one that split in half, and that was, I believe, the first and only run that the RS200 ever had in Group B, and that was.
If I'm not mistaken, I think there's video of that.
Yeah,
one where it was actually going down a pretty straight line of road.
Yeah, and it lost.
As soon as it hit, it just fired.
Yeah, it lost control, and it just kind of dropped down, and that drop was straight into a tree. Fireball split in half, and
but the one that killed the driver and navigator, and I think maybe a couple spectators. That
was the Lancia. I believe that was the Lancia,
and that was down, went down.
Yeah.
So, next topic. What is your personal opinion of the most hated car of the 80s?
Well, at this point, should we bring up the second beer?
We need the second beer.
Yeah, let's do the second beer.
All right, we're going to do the second beer, then we're going to jump in.
Because this is a random wild card that we just got thrown up.
Yeah, so basically, tell me, guys, what you guys think is the worst car of the 80s. That's what we're going to jump into. I know the fact, that not a lot of us have room to talk.
I agree with you, Brian.
I have one to top that. I do. He shed a Chevy Citation.
No, a Chevy Citation X11 is a beautiful car, and I will hold
Celebrity.
I actually like all those weird GM front-wheel drive cars.
No,
because that was the early days of like the 2.8 V6.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm having to go in on the Yugo on this one.
But everyone's going to say Yugo.
I'm going to say mine, and I know you're eventually going to watch this, Mom, and sorry, because you owned one, and I brought it up.
Oh, I know what one you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's the one I picked because it was Florida, and it was pretty, and it looked like a good beer.
Shit, it's an IPA.
Fuck!
Why?
Sucks for you guys, not me.
No, IBUs. What? Oh, no, Indian
It's an
Pale.
IPA with 68 IPUs.
Ooh.
Fuck.
Well, go show them the thing.
You have a DiNozzo slap coming, you know that, right?
Dude, I grabbed it because it was a cool-looking orange can. This is Sunshine City.
He tried to get me to buy a blood orange one, too, and I'm like, fuck no. That's it. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Hold on. Packed with hop flavor and aroma, we double dry hopped this beer with equal parts Mosaic, Citra.
Look at it. It looks like a straight IPA.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry. Peach, kiwi, pineapple, papaya.
God.
What?
Fucking, I'm getting a Natty Light. Who wants a Natty Light?
I already have one.
Peach, papaya, kiwi, and pineapple. All right.
I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Oh, God, smell it. Smell it.
Send
just
it.
Hammer that down.
No, smell it, Chris.
Oh,
God.
All right. Cheers, boys. I'm going to take it.
Brian's never been so happy to be in the hospital.
Fuck you.
Brian, can I come there with you, please?
Fuck you. Come on.
I'm going to be up there after I drink this because I'm going to need a hospital.
Hold on.
Do a big chug.
Brian,
Slam this
look
fucking thing.
how hazy that thing is.
Dude, it's 6.8% though, bro.
Oh,
Are you ready to party?
oh my God.
Are you fucking ready to party? Let's do
You're
this.
driving my ass home.
I actually like that.
Ugh. Ugh.
It's not bad.
Drama queen.
The finish is a little bit harsh.
Yeah, a little bit, but not bad.
I'm going to end up finishing that.
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, I'll finish it on principle, but
Second taste is way better. Way less better. That's pretty good.
Damn it.
Shit, you're right. Second taste wasn't nearly as bitter.
That doesn't taste like an IPA at all.
It's still got the orange peel taste to it.
Oh, definitely. Well, Sunshine City, St. Petersburg, Florida, you know.
That's not bad. All right. I rescind my previous. Oh!
I don't.
It's drinkable.
I don't.
The 1980 Chevrolet Nova 2.
Oh, God.
No.
That's all. Next.
Why?
Why?
It's Corolla based.
Oh, dude, that was a terrible, cheap shit car.
How?
It always. It was just. It was.
I thought that was Tricel based.
No,
Yeah.
that had the 4AC
No,
and the
yeah.
4AG, just like the 86 Corollas did.
But
Same
they-
as the AE111.
But they were front. They were front wheel drive though.
Yeah, so is the AE111.
Yeah.
That's a good car.
But it was.
11's very good car.
It was a cheap car that they reskinned just to be sold and shoved through the
Yes,
populace.
but if it's a Corolla badge on it, does it change?
Well, no. See,
No, it
you're
was
not
still-
thinking this through all the way. See, that wasn't just badge engineering. It wasn't that
It was
GM.
badge engineering and then de-engineering.
Look,
It wasn't-
I'm just gonna say this now. I'm sticking up for it because I seen one today and about died when I
Listen,
seen it.
my
It was
mom used to
still-
That
have
was the
one.
last one.
My mom
Holy
used
shit.
to have one. I remember the big fucking goofy buttons on the radio that never worked. And they had this big plastic. When you pressed it, it was like the key was loose on the keyboard. Like you didn't know if something was going to break on the car if you touched it. It was just cheap and feeble.
That's editing from the 80s, too.
Not necessarily.
But it wasn't just a badge
you
engineered
have like
car.
big turn knobs on your FC for like your lights and stuff.
Yeah, those are dope.
They're cool, but aren't they like pretty big plastic?
It's not like that. It doesn't feel like it's gonna. My FC has 275,000 miles on it.
I was going to say, has no motor or trans. Come on.
Still, if you turn the headlight knob, it doesn't feel like it's gonna break. It feels like it's gonna work.
But it won't.
I'll give you that.
It's not gonna leak
I'll give you
transmission fluid.
It
either.
wasn't.
It's not dog.
It wasn't just a badge engineered car. It was a powertrain badge engineered car.
Yeah.
The rest of that car was designed by GM, and it
Yeah.
was just as bad as 80s GM could possibly get.
I got
Because
to
it
top
was
that, though.
a poorly engineered GM car.
Because at this point, I got to throw in just watched the Motor Week retro review on it. The Pontiac Le Mans that was based off of the Opel Cadet. At that point, where it was the same, it was part of it. It was the Opel Cadet that was built by Daewoo. So
like the Sunbird.
no.
What's the Le Mans?
It was a front-wheel drive, 4-cylinder, 70 horsepower, weird two-door hatchback looking thing.
That's pretty similar to what the Nova became,
Yeah,
though, because the
but
Le Mans
it
used to be a
was-
badass muscle
It
car.
was 78 horsepower,
Yes.
3-speed automatic, 4-speed manual, or 5-speed manual.
Yes.
You got a horribly unbalanced manual rack in it if you did not get the AC option on it, to where the car would pretty much lift off oversteer, spin around during the slalom course. It was just fucking horrible. Horrible. I've only seen one of them in person ever, and it was in a junkyard.
Sterling's. That's another terrible car from that area.
Sterling was all badge engineered.
Yeah.
It was.
They didn't make cars; they just put badges on
They
cars.
did, and they were
mostly Hondas.
They took a Honda and made it look like a Mercedes.
They
But
tried-
all with
it was
cheap
like-
shit. It was pleather and like fake vinyl.
It looked like a Honda and a Cadillac of the time had a like terrible deformed bastard love child is what they looked
Well, I
like.
remember the first Sterling I ever saw, and it was in a junkyard, and nobody touched it. It was completely untouched, and I was looking at it, and I was like, is this a fucking Acura Legend?
That's essentially what it was.
Oh, Acura.
So
Oh.
I have two.
What's that?
First off, worst car of the 80s. Absolute worst. You guys, you weren't seeing the forest through the trees here. The Yugo.
Oh, I was gonna say that, but everybody's like, no, everybody's gonna say the Yugo.
No,
Fucking
that's-
Yugo
that's-
was
that-
horrible.
the Yugo-
Yeah.
That's like a Lotto.
But a Yugo's the worst '80s car ever.
No, the
like,
worst
punching
'80s car.
bag.
That was
ever
literally the worst car ever.
No,
I
the
know,
lot.
it's like-
Well, you also got to throw in the Lada at that point. Is that the worst or best car ever made? Because it's one
They
of those,
still fucking make
it's
it.
horrible, but it's one of those they still make the same fucking car to this day, to where it's the same as it was in 1970s.
Right.
But it's
It's like a Volkswagen.
but
They can still
yeah,
make it.
yeah.
See, the market approach though with the Yugo was the same thing people think now. They bought them to beat the fuck out of them, and they knew they were
They
turds.
paid what, like
Nothing.
$2,000
Yeah,
for
they were
them?
cheap
Like,
and
yeah.
disposable,
But
and
if
that's
it
what
got,
people
like,
used them
if
for.
it got you 30,000 miles,
That's
it got
all they-
you 30,000 miles.
And for cheap, that's all people give a fuck about when they bought a Yugo. That's the only reason why I didn't
Yeah,
pick it, is
so,
because
like-
people came in knowing they were buying a pile of shit.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, like you can't really fault the car either. Yeah, it's a piece of shit, but if it works,
For even
it
enough
didn't.
time.
That's the problem. No, it didn't. It didn't even work sometimes.
I don't know.
If you-
There's still some of them around.
No, there aren't.
Yeah,
There's
there
like 3.
Cut off his oxygen.
Maybe.
They used one in that film,
A little interesting.
Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, and that was one of them. And I think there's like 2 others in private collections, and that's pretty much it. The other one, Pontiac
Pontiac.
Fiero.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I'm sorry. I know I'm gonna take. Hold on.
No.
Let me
no,
plead my case
because that
first.
motor behind you speaks
No,
differently.
Listen,
Let me
that
plead my
wasn't in
case.
those.
No, Iron Duke, bro.
Yeah,
Don't go
those are
trashing that.
those
That'd be
things
another-
were actually really good, cheap MR2s.
Please let me plead my case.
Go for it.
Okay,
You don't
it
count.
was the poor man's MR2.
the
and that's-
poor man's.
And that's well, the poor man. The MR2 was the poor man's Ferrari, but that was the poor man's MR2, and it was a great car in concept. It was unfortunately victim of GM's poor engineering once again. The fact that yes, it caught on fire a lot.
I would read this. Working on them is terrible. The interiors are terrible.
I love the interior.
What that car was to
Fantastic
me,
car.
what that car was
Those
to me
pictures are
was
so
that
great.
was the
They caught on fire because of the fiberglass thing.
the research and development department. They came up with the clay models, and they went, "That's great, let's build it." And then they took it to the engineers, and they said, "Okay, you have like $50 to build this car."
And
And
It's
that was
pretty
the
much
problem.
the same way with every single North Star engine too. They're like, look at this wonderful engine. Fuck, where are we putting the starter?
well, see, I can
Take off the intake.
I-
Here, put it there. You know?
I can approach a Fiero from multiple directions. I've driven both a base
No.
model Fiero and a Fiero GT. I'll agree with you on some aspects. Some aspects I'll disagree on. Great
It got
concept.
better. It got better. I'll give you that.
Oh, they
As
did.
the model went on, they engineered it better, and it
Oh,
got a
most
lot
certainly.
better. When they added the V6, you had a real car on your hands at that point.
But here's the deal. I drove one of my buddies. He had an older base model auto 4-cylinder. I drove a newer V6 GT manual. Another one of my buddies had. The problem is disconnecting drivetrains. The cars felt the same, and they didn't feel well grounded. You know, they were kind of.
Unfortunate part of that too is that the difference between you had the throttle body injected 2.5s for the 4-cylinder models, and then you had the multi-port fuel injected 2.8s. Now those 2.8s were still in the making. Like I'm probably off by a little bit, but I'd say somewhere around 130, 140 horse.
Yeah.
And the throttle body 2.5 was still 110 horse. You know, on a good day. So I
There
mean,
wasn't a big performance difference. The sound was definitely different, and they rode the same. It almost felt like the fucking motors weighed the same, and they
well,
didn't.
they kind of did.
They did.
And it wasn't. I expected it to be balanced. It wasn't balanced.
No.
No,
The
not at all.
motor, the motor's too far close to you guys,
The-
and you get like this weird kind of front end sway.
The 2.5
Yeah, the Fiero.
The
Yeah.
2.5 is not a very smooth running engine.
Mm-mm.
It's a very archaic design from the 70s again.
Oh, and
And
it's
then the
what.
2.8 V6 in those early years were still finely unbalanced. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, and like, don't get me wrong. Like, the platform, you know, the 2.5 is fantastic. I love the interior on those cars. I love the way they were designed. I think they looked amazing. I think they still look
good, but I
amazing.
said
But
cheap because they're cheap.
They are cheap, but they're terrible to drive too. On top of that, that's what makes that car that's why I agree.
That
with
is
you.
why I said that was one of the worst cars of the 80s because it was a car that presented itself as this awesome little sports coupe, this great little mid-engine rear-wheel drive, fun car to drive, and then you actually get in and drive it, and it was just awful.
Well, at the same point, I got to throw in again the Countach. Through everything I just said of how awesome it was, you actually drive the car. That's 100%, 100% the case of do not meet your heroes.
Right.
It is the steering feels like it's concrete. The shifter feels like it's concrete. You can't see out of it. The windows only open that much. The
You
AC
also didn't buy that car for those reasons.
Well, yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
but
You can roll
it's
up.
also
You
kind of
can
the
roll
same
up to the
thing,
club in a Countach in the 80s, and everybody be like, "Dude, that's an awesome car," because that's what it was meant for.
Yeah.
If you rolled up to the club in a Fiero, everyone laughed.
No, they thought that Achy Breaky Heart was about to pro.
Just a little bit, they would laugh at you inside. And the fact that all the engineering things, do you know what the fires boiled down to? I actually looked it up one time because I was bored. Because the early models
Fuel
had
regulator?
Nope. They had a problem where they would burst into flames.
Like a Ferrari.
It all boiled down to, at the factory, they were installing the incorrect oil dipstick.
So it would pop out, oil would flow onto the headers?
Nope, they installed one that was too long.
Huh?
The actual dipstick part of it, not the tube, but the dipstick, they were putting one that was 2 inches too long in it. So instead of you filling the engine with 5 quarts, you were filling the engine with about 2.5 quarts. And it would starve out for oil, blow the block out, throw a rod and blow the block. And because the exhaust routed underneath the motor, cover the exhaust in oil and woof.
I always thought that was part of the problem, was the fact that the catalytic converter was too close to the front panel in the engine bay.
What I read was it was too short of a dipstick.
I thought that was always. I was always told that was the problem of it. I never looked into it. So
yeah, and that was actually a TSB. I looked it up on All Data. That was the cause of the official cause of the fires in those original. The first 2 years, I think, is what it was that was affected.
Yeah.
It was in the Iron Dukes.
Yeah.
Still super neat little cars, though.
Now, I do know someone locally that has the second gen of one that they put a North Star engine into.
I've heard they can LS swap them.
They
do LS supercharged swap them.
With the North Star, with it being a transverse engine to begin with, it pops right down in there, and you're able to and you get instant 300 horsepower. Just boom.
Oh, might I mention?
And smooth running in. I love the North Stars. Just their engineering things.
I don't like working on them from a mechanics standpoint.
But for a regular standpoint, they are great on that point. But working on them, they're a pain in the ass.
They always have good power, though. They have a very smooth power.
Exactly.
I do not fault the North Star until I have to fix it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when you said that, the transverse V8 totally reminded really quick. Our boy Ryan Stankey has officially got the rear motor and turbo lined up and mounted in the vehicle.
And RSX?
Yeah, is working on the rear subframe.
Do you know about that? You gotta fill it in.
My buddy Ryan up north has got an Acura RSX.
He sometimes watches. This is good.
He's got an Acura RSX with
an LS up front.
An LS up front out of an Impala SS.
Yeah. And he's got an LS in the back too.
Yeah. And
dual motor.
Yeah, and now he's got the LS in the back like almost ready to go. And he's going to be probably within, by the end of this year, he's going to be up and running. So
dual motor.
It's going to be sick.
Oh, it's going to be fucking insane.
V16.
Can you imagine?
A 16-cylinder
RSX.
Well, here's the deal. You're running 2 non-built LSs with big turbos. So each one's going to make probably about 600 to 700 horsepower.
Oh, fuck it. You're going to make 900 horsepower on that shit. Fucking, I hate Chevys, but fucking hell, it comes to the point you get a fucking 4.8 out of a junkyard, throw a choo-choo board on there, you're making 600 horsepower instantly.
Now, I want to approach another thing, because we don't have a lot of viewers tonight. They keep coming in and out, in and out, in and out. So, our giveaway we're going to be giving away one of these fantastic T-shirts.
We did it last time, and Cody, you should be getting it soon. It's been shipped and all that shit. But this week, we are doing it through subscribers.
Yes, we are going to choose a random subscriber at a random time during the week, and you are going to win a Pints and Pistons shirt. And we hope you enjoy it. Thank you for being subscribed. And once we hit 100 subscribers, we're going to go out and get a detail kit, like a beautiful
we're not talking
detail
about
kit.
we're giving you a shit ton of like armor.
No, like we're going to spend good money on this detail kit, and we're
like,
going to choose a subscriber after 100 subscribers to win one of the
videos of like Brian doing
yes.
shit and all
and
that.
those aren't done, too.
Yeah,
There's more to come on
trust
those.
me, we got Sabrina's card, which is going to be we haven't even decided that's going to be a video series because it's so bad. But it's going to be good shit. Like, you're going to be getting probably $67 worth of shit.
There will be no armor all,
No
says
armor
Brian.
all.
Armor all is not detail equipment.
No.
Armor all is
If you
ruin
put-
your car.
If you put armor all on your car, you are fucking stupid.
And now, I think that
Sponsored by Armor all.
I think this might bring us into our last bit here.
Are you going to do the Bring a Trailer?
Yeah, I'm doing the Bring a Trailer. Brian is not here to do a Bring a Trailer with us, so I'm going to be doing the Bring a Trailer with these guys. Here's the fun part.
Hold on. Brian, you have to watch and comment because we're going to be using your price point on this. Do not go on to Bring a Trailer. I fucking know you. Do not go on to Bring a Trailer and look up this shit.
Oh, no, I just lost it.
Oh, he lost it. Never mind. Go on to Bring a Trailer. And find
I
that shit.
got it! All right. Tonight, we have a 1990 Suzuki Alto RSX.
Ooh.
76,000 kilometers. It's roughly about 47 to 48,000 miles. We have, of course, the Turbo 3 5-speed manual. It's an interesting color combination. I'm going to pull up some pictures without revealing the prices.
Okay. That's what I
So
want.
you can scan right through here all you need to. Just hit the little arrow there if you'd like. Ooh.
Oh, I love those cars.
Oh, I love it so much. I love the wheels.
If you don't know what a Suzuki Alto is, it's a key car. A little itty-bitty guy with a 3-cylinder
Oh,
in it.
I love the spoiler. It's so cute.
Even though they only made like 78 horsepower, they weighed so little, those things get down. And they were tiny cars. It's like, this is...
It's got the factories.
yes.
Rain guards.
Yeah. This Alto Works is probably, like, no joke, maybe a little bit longer than the table you're looking at right in front of us.
Okay, so I like it. I haven't even gotten to interior.
All right, it's in fantastic
It
shape.
is. It is.
That's the best.
It's
Just go on the arrows.
It's the best.
So
I didn't even look at interior, but already I got parts going on.
Oh, it's
in
The
really
real
good
question is,
shape.
does it have the decals on the side, which it does not.
It's
Does
got
not.
it doesn't, but it has the factory
Hey,
Alto rain guards.
The rain guards on it. The rain guards on it say Alto. They are factory rain guards on that shit.
That
Engine
That's
bay,
really
and
sweet.
if you get to the engine bay you can eat off of.
this is some JDM porn.
If you guys want to see it, I'm sorry that I just now picked it, but after the stream is done, I will put the link
All right,
to this
Brian's
car in
saying
our description.
$6,000.
Brian says 6,000.
I wasn't gonna go that high. Mike is saying 5,200.
I'm saying $9,500.
Okay, so hold on. So we got Brian 6,000.
You're at
I'm at
52.
52. You're at 9,000.
9.5.
9.5.
Closer to 12.
12. We'll put you at 11. So 11, 9.5, 5.2. What did I say? 5.2, right?
Yep.
5.2, 6,000. What did it sell for?
Brian wins $58.50.
What?
It sold for $5,850.
I was so close.
Dude, that
Brian
little
Price
thing,
is right at me.
that little thing has less than half of the miles my car has on it.
Oh, damn it.
It's in beautiful shape, 5850, and it was
I
already
felt
it's
like
already
that should have gone higher.
already had a legal U.S. title too.
Damn.
That's what I was
All right.
saying. I felt 9.5.
Here's the kicker: that was not a no reserve car.
Really?
Yep. Somebody
I'm
that means
shocked.
somebody that knew it wasn't. I guess they're not worth that much. I thought those things were worth more. I love those little cars. I'd rock one.
I used to watch the JDM auctions and stuff like that. I mean, you'd be amazed with the.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God! I know, and that's the thing.
Like they're untouchable.
They were going between like around $10,000 for those.
Oh, yeah.
I guess
I
they
figured somewhere around
I
12.
don't, maybe because that one's not like an
By the
old.
time it's imported over here,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one's already got a legal U.S. title.
somebody stole that.
Oh, definitely. But that's about all we got for the night.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The after party is coming. We haven't spoken about it yet, but
Mike's
as soon as
about
we're
Might as well
done in
fucking
here,
drop it now. We're gonna have a fucking after party on our Facebook page.
Mike's about to get drunker.
Yes, there's a lot of fun things
Thank you,
about to
Dan.
happen. You're welcome, bud. If you head on over to our Facebook page, link is in the description, facebook.com/Pints and Pistons Official. If you go on Facebook, you'll find us. We have over 200 followers, but only 69 subscribers on YouTube. But anyway,
Hey, 69?
yeah, 69.
Yeah,
69, dude.
Oh, God, that was horrible.
Anyway,
he
head-
was so trepidatious about that. Like,
Hey. If you're really us from the future, what number am I thinking of?
69, dudes.
Dudes, they're us.
Anyway, we're going to have a live stream. We're going to have an after party. We're going to do some fun stuff. You guys get ready. If you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe to us. Hit the little bell. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Facebook is really where you find our weekly shenanigans, where we post memes.
Trust me, there is a lot of shit because I have so much parts sitting in the garage for the 86.
Tons of shit. Yeah, Facebook happens a lot. So make sure you go there. Share us around if you like what you saw. We're here every other week. We're live and we're uncensored. We're unfiltered. We're still unscripted, but we got.
We're legless. Well, not today, but we miss you, Brian. We really do.
Yes, Brian.
So please hurry up. Safe recovery. Do what you gotta do, but you better fucking be here next time because Midget cannot be here without his cripple. Like seriously.
Yeah, we needed one-legged Jesus tonight.
I know. But yeah, so Mike's about to get shit-faced, and strange things are about to happen at the Circle K. So.
Guys, Facebook. Head over to our Facebook page. It's going to start in like 10, 15 minutes.
20, I gotta pee.
Me too. Bye.